Hello everybody and welcome to my another video. This time it will be again just a quick tip, pretty much a random quick tip, how to make circular arrays of objects in Blender and how to make them interactive, so kind of like modifier. And I just doodling around the custom properties and drivers, so I will use it as a method because I'm pretty sure that this kind of setup is achievable in Blender in more than several ways, but I will use it just one, and I will just hope that you will find it useful for maybe something else or whatever. So how it will work: when we will finish, there will be just table, and this table will have three custom properties: angle, number, radius, and it will control the chairs around it. So angle will be where the chairs will be from 0 to 360, of course. Number is number of chairs, again, of course. And radius is how far the chairs are from the table. And each table will have its own properties and also ability when you are copying it, duplicate it. It will duplicate also all the dependencies, so you don't have to arrange another objects, arrange another drivers. It will just take care of everything. You may wonder why there are chairs stuck in the middle of the tables, but it's just internal way of Blender how it achieves the duplicates method. And don't worry, these chairs won't be on the render. You don't have to set invisible or set them or another layers. Don't worry about them at all. Blender will take care of everything. So where to start? Just we will keep this chair and table. Everything else we will delete. You can have any type of objects. It really doesn't matter. I will just use this setup because it kind of makes sense that you will want to do this. Only part that is kind of necessary or important is that the chair object, or the object that will be arrayed, is in the origin, or has the origin point where it will be duplicated. So keep it in mind, and it will face to the center of the table with negative y-axis of this object. So if I will rotate it like this, all the chairs will face from the table. So don't do it, keep it like this. And let's set up the properties. Well, I already have them, but so you will see how it's make. I will add 3 another, and everything you need is just in each property hit edit and edit the property. Some name which has to be unique, so you can address this property by its name and Blender will know that you mean just this property, not anything else. So for example, radius, the property value doesn't really matter. Again, only one important thing: it's difference between just 1 and 1.0, because if you put there the simple 1, it will work only in integers. If you put there the 0.0, it will work in floats. And minimal value, something very small. Maximum whatever to 156 and some tooltip. It doesn't matter. Something, it's optional, you don't have to put tooltips here, but if you will have more these properties, it's probably better to know what it do. If you hover the mouse over the number, it will tell me what it does, and this does something because I wrote it. Another will be angle, and I will add there dig, like it's not angle in degrees, and default value will be 360. I will not put there the 0.0 because I want just full degrees of angle, or you get me, right? And it will be from 0 to 360. Tooltip no, okay. So you can see there is no float value, and it keeps me in range of 0 to 360. And the last one, what it will be, yes, of course, the number, and it will be the number of chairs. So again, I want just whole number. I can't place there like 3.2 chairs, it's just impossible. And minimal value like 2, because it won't work as array if there will be less than 2 chairs. I hope it makes sense too. And again 256 or whatever number you want. And okay. Okay, we have our properties, but as you can expect, it does nothing right now. If we changed it, we have to somehow connect it to functionality of the Blender or some other properties inside Blender, but we don't have any right now. So we will now to manage to copy the chair around the table, and there is definitely several ways, or more than several ways, how to achieve it. And just because I want the editability or live editing after everything is finished, I will definitely use modifiers, but not exactly on the chair, because I found out that it's kind of hard to make it with array modifier, because array actually keeps all the copies as one object, and if you deform it with curve, with what's it, band, with anything, it will actually deform the chair itself as the object, and you probably don't want it. So I will use a helper object, any kind of mesh. Only one rule: the mesh has to be in same place as the chair object, otherwise the duplicates will give weird rotations as a result. And it doesn't matter what mesh it is, because we will go to edit mode, select all, and with Alt M just merge it in center. So we want just one little vertex right here in the center. And because the rotation, scaling, and all the modifiers won't actually have any effect if the vertex is in the center, so we will just move it slightly from the center. It doesn't really matter the direction where you move it, and the distance is also kind of irrelevant, because it will actually be the closest point where the chair can be to the table. So for example, if you put it somewhere here, it would mean that the chair can't be closer to the table, only further away. So we will just keep it somewhere here, because we know that the chair won't be so this close, it would collide with table like this it would intersect. Go back to object mode, parent it to table, just to keep everything clear, what depends on what. Naming isn't really important, but just to keep it clear, circle array could be, and here in duplications set verts and rotation, so the chair will always face to the table, not as it's rotated as default. Well, and I can select it. It's already. It looks like done, and just two modifiers, and I am pretty sure that it doesn't really matter the order of these modifiers. It should work both ways. So we will use cast modifier with cast type sphere, factor 1 and radius 1, for example. This radius will actually move our vertex exactly 1 meter from the center of the object, so this will control the radius of how far the chair will be, and we won't control it with the properties, so I hover mouse over this radius, hit right mouse button and add driver. It will be purple, pinkish color. It means everything works, it's good, and I can move on to the second modifier, and it will be screw modifier. Well, you can see where this is going slowly, and here I just don't need smooth shading. Everything else I probably leave as it is. I just put driver to all these three values, so the angle, steps and render steps, and this object is pretty much set up. Everything you need to do is select your chair or the arrayed object, with shift select the circle array or whatever we just created, and with Ctrl P parent it as object, and it will already duplicate the chair in each vertex of the created mesh. And as you can see in the modifier, you can now you can't if this is driver, but before it has driver you can control the steps, so you can control the number of chairs. But we don't want to go to each modifier and move these properties independently. We want to have it in nice order in just one place, and this one place is here. So we will connect these the drivers to these properties. Right now it shouldn't take long. I will just make this 3D view so we will see what's happening, and this I will go to graph editor, where instead of f-curve we will modify drivers. Hit N for these properties and select the chairs. You should see 4 drivers already there, where we put them into the radius of the cast modifier, into angle of the screw modifier, and into steps and to render steps of screw modifier. And all settings of the driver are actually here in the property panel. You can see active f-curve, active keyframe, drivers here. This is the table which you want to edit. and the value of the radius, or the value of whatever is purple, where it is actually here. So this, what am I doing, radius, so this radius is purple, so it doesn't it's irrelevant what number is here, because it will be replaced with this number. So whatever I will write here will be in radius. So if I write there 5, the radius will be 5. Well, it seems like not really useful, because I can write the number right here, but here I can write expressions. So 5 divided by 2, for example, and it will be 2.5 meters. And well, you actually in the 2.7 and more Blender do it in all these columns, so it's still not exactly the benefit of the driver, but I can put there some variable, something like my variable +2. And what is my variable? Right here it says error invalid Python expressions, because my variable isn't anything. And here I can see I can add variables. There is already one, and it's called var. So I will just rename it to my variable. Now if I update it, still error, because maybe typo. No typo. Well, so error is just because it doesn't have any value. It makes sense, because we didn't say what value it should have. And the number of values that can be here is enormous. I definitely won't explain not everyone. I will just explain only the what we need, because you can select the properties of objects, and it means all objects that you have, all transform channels, rotation differences, distances, and not only for objects but for actions, armatures, fonts, textures, materials, anything. So you can access via this variable any number inside of Blender and make some math with it and place it to the radius. So you can actually with drivers can make anything, but we will keep it very simple, and we don't use script expressions, just some of the variables or some values, and we will have only one value, so we don't have to be concerned about any math or anything. We will where we will take this value, we will take it with in object name table, because this is our table which has this properties, and this is this won't path to the property. If you kind of know Python, you probably know what this is, this wants from you, but sometimes you want number from another scene or some weird properties of sounds or whatever, and you don't know exactly how it's stored inside the Blender. So the easiest way is go to the table. What we want is radius, so hover over the number that we want to extract from here, hit right mouse button and copy data path. Don't Control C over it or copy just the value, it would copy the 1.0, but if you copy the data path, it will copy the Python expression of this property somewhere inside the Blender. and here you can just click and Control V, and you can see it's just a radius, nothing more. But already Blender already know that this radius is set to 1. I can set it to something different, and you see it already works. It's everything. I talk maybe longer than it's needed, but you see that it's matter of seconds, not even minutes, to set up property and put it to the driver, and we already can control our radius. And same thing we will do for the steps, so for the number of chairs, again just sum of all variables, and we will stack from table one single property, and this property is called number. Let's try it. Update. Yes, it's called number. So I'm able to control number of chairs. Isn't it awesome? Yes, it is awesome. I make the same thing for the render steps, just logically, because I want the same number of chairs in the viewport as in the render. I hope it makes sense. So I will use the same number property from the table object. Update dependencies. Yes, it's 6. So the driver value, put this 6 to whatever we connected it here with steps and render steps. And what about angle? It's kind of tricky one, because here you can see it's 359.99. It's in degrees, but if you select the driver that run this property, this value, you can see it's 6.283, which is actually kind of rounded to pi, because the driver put the number in radians into this property, and it somehow works. I think it's kind of not exactly good for understanding what's happening, because you can see if I want to change it, it says 6.283, but for me as user, I see degrees right here, right now, so I am confused. Maybe not, but you have to be aware of it, that sometimes and most of the times the values are in radians. If you don't know what are radians, stop right here and go to Google, Wikipedia, wherever, and find what are radians, because it's very important for not only this tutorial, it's important for making anything in 3D as general. Forget degrees, it don't work. So we will keep it in mind that we want actually radians here, but our property in table is prepared to provide us with degrees. So we want convert this degrees to radians. So we will actually make scripted expression, and we will use the angle, for example, and it will be again property of the table, and it will be angle. I don't remember what it is, so I will just use the trick with copy data path, Control V, 360, whatever, and we will take this angle and multiply it by, and from degrees to radians is pi divided by 180, and I don't really know how to write pi inside here. You can import here math functions or whatever, like in Python. So there is probably way, it is probably in wiki or some documentation, but I didn't find it. Well, I really didn't trying to find it, so I will just write here 3.11419265359. It should work. It's, I believe Blender is rounding in fourth decimal place, or now I'm just guessing, but this should work as pi in most cases, pretty much any cases you will encounter. And it should be all. This should already mean my angle in degrees multiplied by this weird number makes it in radians. And it's all. It's actually everything. It wasn't that painful as I thought. So we can control the angle, the number, the radius. Just be aware, you can see right now clearly that I have number 2, so I want 2 chairs, but there are 3, and it's not exactly mistake or error or bug. It's how screw modifier works. It can go less than 2, which means 3, because it actually take the number exactly as it is only if you have multiplications by 360. If you have full round, it's actually 6. I am not sure if the modifier itself take cares of the overlapping of the one chair, which is first and last simultaneously, but I believe it is. And if not, you can always convert it to objects and remove one chair manually. But it's not what we want. We want this live editing. And good thing about drivers also is that it take its dependencies relatively to the object. So if we found the property on table for this chair, it's actually table which is parent of this chair. So it's kind of more complicated, but anything that you need to know is that if you select everything at all and duplicate it everything at once, it also duplicates the drivers and find the correct drivers for the new chairs. So it will actually rename the new source, the new table. So I don't have to set it anywhere. It already gives me new sets of properties, new set of drivers, and reconnect them, so I have these tables independent from each other. And it's everything. You can freely rotate the table itself because it's just parented to it. It don't change any values actually inside the drivers or modifiers. And maybe you will find it useful. Oh, it was actually longer than I thought. So I thank you very much for watching, and till the next time, bye.